Okay, so this video that I'm about to do right now is probably one of the most important videos that I'm going to do, or that I've done so far on this channel. And the reason for that is because I think this issue is the thing that if you're ambitious, if you're goal orientated, and you're a man in any capacity, you come under that characterization. You know, this is probably the thing that will cause you the biggest amount of pain, basically. And it's the thing that most people get stuck on when they're ambitious. And it's really frustrating. And that is the thing of having multiple motivations, conflicting motivations. You don't really know what to focus on. You know, 1 minute you want to do this, you want to become a YouTuber. 1 minute you want to become a you're really interested in dropshipping, you want to get into that, or you want to write music, or you get all these weird sort of motivations about loads of different things, and your brain's really sort of scattered, and you don't really know what to go into, and so you just kind of freeze. You just sort of go into a frozen state where you're not really doing anything, and you're constantly dragged in different directions. I've had this for most of my life, really. Like, I'm constantly found that I'm dragged in different directions. You know, should I get into music? Should I get into YouTube? Should I do vlogging, languages? You know, there are so many different things that I want to get into. And there's sort of two ways that, well, the main way that people tend to deal about this problem is to basically journal your way out of it. And in principle, I think it's really important to journal. I do think everyone should do it, and you will get a lot of clarity from journaling. But for most people who are in the situation where they feel like they've got conflicting motivations and stuff like that, I don't think journaling is actually what you need. What you need to do is basically make some headway, whatever, in any direction it is. And that's basically the advice that I'm going to give, is if you feel like you're in the situation where you've got conflicting motivations, you don't know what to focus on, blah, 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 just pick something and just do it for a bit and then see where you are. Because if you do one thing and you get even a tiny bit of progress with it, and that's something, you know, that's still something, that's still going to get you somewhere. And so let's say, you know, you've got loads of conflicting motivations, you want to do all these different things, and, you know, one of them is YouTube, and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to do YouTube for a few weeks and see how I feel after it. Worst case scenario, you do it for 3 weeks, and then you think, actually, YouTube isn't for me, I'm not going to do it. But even then, you've still learned the skills from trying YouTube for a bit. You've still, you know, got valuable experiences out of it. And you've got some actual physical data about whether you actually enjoy doing this thing or not. What doing this thing is actually like, you know. And you've got the videos that you've made that you can always come back to. And that's something. But the best case scenario is you do it for a bit and then suddenly think, actually, I really enjoy this. I can get going with this. There's somewhere that I can take this. And then you keep going into it more and more and more. But I think that's really the thing you need to do, is just whatever you feel like doing, just start with that. And don't worry about, oh, but I also want to do this at some point. I also want to do this. Just focus on one thing right now and then just see where that leads you. And there are criticism to this way of thinking. You know, a lot of people will tell you that you need to get clarity and just focus on one thing. And the main reason for this is that you're going to be more focused if you have, you're going to make more progress if you really decide what you want to do and then get into it. But there are a few problems with this that I have. Firstly, I just don't believe it's that easy to really get some focus about what you want to do what you want to focus on without actually getting some skin in the game, without actually trying that thing and seeing whether it works for you. Like I say, I think journaling's great, it's really valuable to do, but it's not actually, it's so much more valuable to actually go and do it and just gather more data about what it's actually like to do that thing. Now, at the end of a long day, you know, sit down with a pad and paper and journal your thoughts out. 100%, I'm a big advocate of that, but I think you don't want to spend time that you could be spending actually doing the thing, instead just spending it journaling. You know, I think that's you're better off just trying the thing at that point. So that's my rebuttal to the first thing that people say. The other thing that people say about why you should focus on one thing, why it's better to, is because you'll make more progress in it. You know, you'll get more results if you just find one thing that you really want to do at that point and just really maximise on it. And there are lots of good examples of this. You know, Hamza talks about this a lot on his YouTube channel, the fact that he just really doubled down on one thing, which was YouTube, and in the self-improvement niche, and he made a lot of progress in that. And there's no denying that you will make more progress if you just commit to one thing. But the trouble is, I just don't think that's an option for most people early on in the game, because I think that the option is not between doubling down on one thing and doing that, and just doing that, and doing lots of things quite absent-mindedly. Instead, it's a choice between doing nothing and just being paralysed with indecision, or just doing lots of things badly and sort of seeing how it goes. I just think that's much more realistic, and I do agree. I think it's much better to really focus on one thing. That's how you really set yourself apart, how you really make yourself distinct, how you really get success is just focusing on one thing, of course. But I think for most people, we're just not there. We're not at a stage where we can double down on one thing. I think it's better off just to try a bunch of things and just see where they go. And even if you're a bit scatterbrained or you don't really know where you're going with it, at least it's something, you know. And I'd rather that than just sit there being paralysed with indecision, which is the only other choice, really. So that's the other thing. And yeah, this is a bit of a weird example, but there are examples of people who are extremely successful, who have just really spread their focus really far and still been very successful. People like Elon Musk. You know, like he was running Tesla and SpaceX at the same time, and you know, there's some continuity with that. You know, it's both kind of engineering, whatever. But on the face of it, running an electric car company and running, you know, trying to get to Mars, whatever, they are quite different things. You know, they're very different aims, but he did have the resolve to want to keep both companies, and so he was able to do it. So, you know, I'm not saying Elon Musk is like necessarily an achievable standard for most people, but you know, I think there is another side to this thing of just focusing on one thing. You know, there are people who do make different focuses work. And again, I don't think it's the optimal solution. I do think it's better just to focus on one thing. But I just don't think you can't be doing multiple things and still not get somewhere. You know, I think it's possible. And I think sometimes you need to like go through just trying lots of different things and just seeing where you are with it, to then things start to get moving, and then you think, all right, this is what I want to invest in. This is what I'm actually not that fussed about investing in. And yeah, I think that's the best way. And I'm just talking about this because this is the situation I'm in right now. Like, I get conflicting motivations all the time. You know, one minute I want to really focus on the YouTube. Next minute I want to really focus on the travel vlogs I'm recording. Next minute I want to just focus on getting an online job and relocating to Southeast Asia, you know. Next minute I think, actually I want to get a normal office job. You know, like I get conflicting motivations all the time. And for a while, like I say, I let this paralyse me. I let this really just eat me up inside, and I was kind of frozen because I didn't know what to do. And I kept going for all these long walks and journaling and stuff like that. And like I say, this didn't do nothing. It's good to do, but it's when I just started thinking I'm not going to get an answer, I've just got to start taking action, that my life started getting better. And what I do now really is I just trying to do all of them in some capacity. You know, so I'm doing this YouTube channel, I'm doing the vlogs, I'm looking for different jobs, some of which are online, some of which are, you know, just office jobs, and it's crazy, right? You know, my attention spreads really thin, and, you know, in a sense, it'd be much better if I just focused on one thing. But I just recognise that I'm not at that stage in the game yet, and I've got to... The next best thing is just trying all these different routes and just seeing what's working, where, you know, what path is it worth going down and what path isn't it. And, you know, at some point on the line, I'm probably going to get to a point when I'm going to be like, this isn't working anymore, I need to focus on this. But I just don't think I'm there yet, and I'd rather just work on something than nothing, you know. I've got a quote on my wall, literally written up on my wall, that says, you can stumble your way uphill. And it's just a quote that I heard from a Jordan Peterson interview. And what that means is, it's just like, that's kind of encapsulated in my philosophy about indecision, is like, if you don't know what to do, like, just do something. Like, if I wake up and I'm just thinking like, right, what am I going to do today, you know, and I haven't really set out a plan for the day, it's just like, I just think to myself, like, I don't have any grand scheme for my life. You know, I'm a bit confused, I'm a bit sort of, you know, 1 minute I want to do one thing, 1 minute I want to do another thing. But what's one thing that it would be better that I did do than if I didn't do it? You know, let's say I got some footage to edit for the vlog. Now, let's, you know, I could do that. That's one thing that I could do. And it might turn out that actually what I should be doing is, you know, finding an online job and relocating to Southeast Asia. But in some sense, it's still better if I record the videos, you know, edit the videos. In some sense, it's still better that they're done than if they're not done. And that's kind of what I mean by stumbling my way uphill. Is just a lot of life, I think, is just taking like blind action, and just at least it gets you somewhere. You know, I think so much of life is like that, you know. You know, in 6 months' time, I might look back at this video that I'm making right now, and I might think to myself, why was I doing that? That was a complete waste of time. I should have been doing this instead, you know. But at least I'm doing this instead of scrolling on my phone. You know, at least it's something. And in some sense, it's still better that I do this than if I don't do it. So I might as well just do it. Do you get what I mean? And yeah, so I think that's really the best way to deal with indecision. And yeah, hopefully there's something that you can apply from this video. So thanks for watching. As always, I'm doing some coaching at the moment, so if you enjoy these videos, you want to get involved, link will be in the description. It'd be great to hear from you. And apart from that, guys, have a great day. See you guys soon.